Mailbag preview time here. It's Thursday morning. We've got Mark Rhoden joining the rest of us this week. Mark Sheen is away for Hawkesbury, which, given it's Hawkesbury, I don't blame him. So it's a pleasure to welcome Mark Rhoden to the preview show. Mark, the week itself, what's Hawkesbury looking like from afar?
Not bad. I've had okay results at this meeting over the years. Everyone hates Hawkesbury. I don't hate it as much as most people, although I haven't done any good the last two meetings there. But quality-wise, it's probably not what it has been in recent years, to be honest.
Okay. Well, we'll touch on the Hawkesbury Guineas coming up a little bit. We'll also touch on a bit of Eagle Farm, and we've got to welcome Shane Curlio, who's just dominating pretty much every single race meet you touch at the moment.
It's been a good trot, hasn't it? I'm trying to curb my enthusiasm, Pistol, because there's some genuine good races this weekend. Like Adelaide's got some good races, some nice horses coming up to Queensland. The races, the quality's getting better, but I don't want to get caught up in the romance of the racing. I've got to remember that I'm here to bet. So I've got to keep focusing on wide and filthy rather than, the
exciting and fun. Yeah.
I'm trying to
Sky One, not Channel 7.
And you add to that Melbourne is 6 and zip, and on top of the ladder. Curbing enthusiasm is pretty difficult for me at the moment.
How long did that take, Mark? Under 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Who you got this week, Curls?
Doesn't matter. We have North Melbourne at Blundstone Arena, I think it's called. In Tasmania.
This has got stinking upset written all over it. You've just knocked off the premiers. Flying. Yeah. Come and meet the team with a percentage of about 30.
Yeah.
Get a hurdle.
Ben Brown's back in.
It does present itself to be one of those games that a traditional Melbourne side get beat. There's no doubt about it.
That said, it would be very, very, very hard to lose to North Melbourne for anyone at the moment.
They're bad.
Anyway.
But like a lot of people, like if I work for Fox Footy or a radio station or Channel 7, if I was like the boss, I'd be doing the ratings in the first 4 minutes of that game, because there'd be a lot of people like the rest of us just checking in to see if North Melbourne sort of show up, because there could be an upset. And then there'll be a stack of people go, nah, they're shit still.
One of the things about Melbourne being 6 and zip and being a Melbourne supporter is the displeasure people take from Melbourne supporters enjoying the start of the season. We're just copying it on social media all the time. Put it, keep a lid on it. You're not that good. You're carrying on. Book your finals tickets. Blah blah blah. Let us enjoy a little bit of sunshine.
No.
I think you're one of the most liked fan bases in the comp.
Well, it's probably out of pity. Because we are.
Yeah, but that's Australia, isn't it? If you are successful, we fucking hate you.
Yes. Tall poppy syndrome was invented in Australia.
So people love Melbourne because they've been shit for a very long time.
Mm.
Richmond were pitied for 35 years. And
now
one likes us at all.
Yep.
True.
They're still not the lovable losers. Hello, St Kilda. There you go. Dickens, you're not a lovable loser. You're winning.
Yeah, we're going good. Very, very good. Young Jackson's been a big sort of...
big addition. Ooh.
Big help just to get every single meeting properly done, and worked out perfectly yesterday. It allowed us to sort of identify a really clear pattern there at Ballarat and just line up and have one good bet. And it worked. It doesn't always work, but it did. And just very grey, isn't it, at the moment in Victoria, with like a lot of these sort of bull-style setups with good horses, one run out from the bull. I just wasn't sure if like horse like whatever it was called yesterday was set to win at Ballarat or aimed at the bull. There's a little bit of that on Saturday, but we're sort of through that now.
Corner pocket is called.
Corner pocket, yeah.
Speaking of the bull, we are feeding the young man Jackson Oldham to the wolves by making him go and do the Mounting Yard Mail across the 3 days. So, Jacko, good luck. I'm sure you'll fare very well. You've got about 20 years on everyone else going, so you should be able to rebound and pick yourself up off the streets and get out there on course pretty easily, I'd say.
I might try and sneak down for one day. Peter's... We probably can't repeat what Peter said, but pretty bluntly said no. Just depends on when our next little kid arrives.
Exciting times. Speaking of other excitement in the mailbag, for those who have been with us for a long time, we're currently doing a little bit of VIP offers for those who are interested in a longer term deal. So we're talking 3 months plus. If you are interested, get in touch via social media or email sales@themailbag.com.au. We're very official now with our own sales email address. But a big heartfelt thanks to Lauren Swan, who's been with us for donkeys, basically since even before I was there, that's a long time. But she's signed up for 12 months and a proper, true mailbagger, Dickens.
Very, very grateful for the long-term support from people like El Swan, Pete Turk, the list goes on. But it's a bit of a pain in the ass. A bit of feedback we've got is it's a bit painful having to order. So for the people who know what they want and will be around for a while, we've sort of building in a way for you to just sort of set and forget.
Yeah. And obviously save a bit of cash at the same time. Speaking of sales, Curls, your 10-week carnival special is still going as well. So effectively, you can get 10 weeks of curly, averages out to be $20 a week. It's $200. If you join now, or if you join the next couple of weeks, you'll still get your 10 weeks. But Curls, obviously, you're betting multiple times a week, and this is where Brisbane's carnival really starts to heat up.
Yep. Been seeing them good too on Saturdays, like a little bit of a... I think I won the last 6 Metro meetings on Saturdays. Have been winning sets. Not only do you get to win, but you get to sometimes get your units back when the trainer takes the wrong horse to the races, like we saw yesterday at Toowoomba, where Chris Lee's runner was coming off a country championship, provincial championship qualifier runs into a dirty old Class 3 sets weights at Toowoomba. It looked like a complete moral. And they took the wrong horse to the track, so we got our 3 units back that we launched on it. So,
how far have they sent the wrong horse?
So Chris Lee's satellite stable is at the Gold Coast, which would be a genuine 2.5-hour float trip, I reckon, up the hill. 2 hours, 2.5 hours, somewhere between there.
Don't you find it fascinating? Like, if we did a poll without people knowing the answer, and you did, what do you think the fine was for sending the wrong horse to a race on which the industry wages upon? 500, 5,000, 20,000, 40,000.
You wanted to fine trainers $2,000 for being late into the mounting yard last week.
At least.
Anyway, so Chris Lees is foreman from the Gold Coast. Not only has he taken the wrong horse, he's taken a 3-year-old gelding up there, and Safano is a 6-year-old, and he's copped a $500 fine.
I think if PVL switched sides and was like the punters, he'd just go nah, like Vladimir, nah, you can no longer have 20 horses in your stable because you can't get them into the yard on time, or you can't get them to the track, the right horse. 16 horses until you do better. You go 6 months without incident, you can go back up to 20. Imagine PVL just going fucking bang.
And just to add a little bit of salt bay into the wound there, is that the winner and second horse were both one was 15s and the second horse was 60s. And I was just thinking, Safano would have absolutely murdered them, even though it hasn't won for 2 years. It would have murdered them. Anyway, sorry to digress.
All right. Let's get started. We'll talk about sports in a little bit. We must also, I guess, just quickly talk about the results. Obviously, the boys have had a little sort of hiccup last weekend. I think that was universal across the sporting landscape, but they've obviously fired back with... Actually, they're pretty up and about, the Barefoot Punter on Tuesday, I must say, recording those boys. Geez, they were willing to have a decent crack, but also, we've got a bit of golf mail, Dickens, so this is going to be just free across our social platforms, so you don't really have to worry about signing up for anything.
It's very good information that the sort of team behind it's happy for us to share. We've done a little contra deal with our stuff and their stuff, and instead of putting it via the app, which we did with Bushy, in the short term, we're just going to blast it across all our social media, so it's not just poisonous ads all the time. There's some good content on there, so they're worth following. So we're on Instagram and on Facebook, and we're pounding it. So get on there and get around it. We're on Sungjom Im to win the Valspar Mate, that's the main bet, and a couple of one roughie, and they've got 2 bets in the Euro tournament. Both kick off today or tonight.
Okay.
Or tomorrow morning.
Something for the insomniacs there. Let's go to the races.
Sorry?
Kicks off at 4 a.m. on KO. I've already scheduled.
Yeah. Do you know what time Sun Jim's off?
Not sure, but I know that I've taken the suggested price and it's already shortened significantly.
Has it?
On the fair, yeah.
Grouse.
I think he was $34 when you set him out when they were sent yesterday.
Yeah,
The last traded price I saw was $28.
Beautiful. I think there's a lot to learn from Sun Jim too for the part-time, average, painful golfer like myself. I'm sure there's plenty of you out there. The man has the slowest takeaway in golf. It's smart. Just slow it down. Do what Sun Jim would do.
Speaking of slowing things down, let's go to Hawkesbury for the Guineas. The Group 3 Mark Rhoden. Ellsberg is favourite at $2.10. Are we backing or are we laying?
It's knife edge. It really is. Oh, look, this is not a great Hawkesbury Guineas, and nice horses have won it in the past. Dawn Passage won it last year when it was at Rose Hill. The bulk of these horses are just Saturday class, if that. Probably not even Saturday class. And Ellsberg is the one who I assume is off to Queensland after this and genuinely does look to be a group class horse. He dominated from the front first up over 1400. He stays at 1400 second up, which I think is fine. Just a question, I suppose, of how easy he gets it with Eliza Beale, maybe Onchow coming up from the midweeks, also another on pacer. But I don't think he absolutely has to lead. You just like him somewhere in the firing line where he can have some sort of control over the speed. If he runs up to that first up run, he's going to be very hard to beat. I've marked him around evens, to be honest, so it's just a sliver of overs at 210, but certainly wouldn't be in a hurry to bet against him. If he has a flat run second up, Rainbow Connection, who chased him last time, is the one I would say most likely to bob up. Does get a fair way back, which is not ideal, I think, around Hawkesbury, the way it's been playing of late. And the absolute pests, who could just bob up and win, or more likely run second last, is Aim, who Curly would have seen come cartwheeling down the outside in the 3-year-old Guineas back in January at the coasts. Mm-hmm. That sort of performance would just about win this, but the fact of the matter is about 90% of his form isn't anywhere near as good as that, so you're really taking him on trust. I mean, you wouldn't want to lay him at 15-1 or something if you're a bookie, but he's also a bit hard to back. But yeah, look, if you like Ellsberg and you're happy with 210, I'd say get stuck in, because if he repeats what he did last time, he'll just about win.
One of Rob Scurry's old mates, Aim. I think he backed him probably every single start except for that Gold Coast win.
Yeah, well, Ellsberg's a new mate of his too, so I think he's leaning Ellsberg's way, to be honest, if he was forced. Not that he's going, which is probably pretty wise itself, but yeah, he is an Ellsberg fan.
Yep, for those who are buying Rob's stuff, or they've already got Rob's stuff, or buying a Saturday pack, they'll get your set Mark instead of Rob's stuff, because he won't be there.
Yep.
What about that 10, Eliza Beale? If it's rock rails in run, he's going to be coughing probably $10.
I would be surprised if it was rails in run. I think it could be on pace, but what you often find is they very rare
outside fence, don't they?
They lead and then peel a bit.
Yeah.
Even the leaders get 4 or 5 off. Also, she had every chance in that race last time and got run down. You know, I couldn't see her doing any better than that, and I think if Ellsberg's on his game, she'd need to improve to beat him. But, yeah, look, the run she gets, she's a good place chance, I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay. Lovely
Where
job.
to next, Peter?
Eagle Farm, they've got a few group races starting up there, Curls, and you've got the Victory Stakes over 1200 being a Group 2. You've also got the Queensland Guineas, but you want to talk about the Victory Stakes?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the Queensland Guineas. I think it's like the way that it's placed within the carnival is horrible, and we get what we've got as far as the field's concerned. So I'd rather focus on the Victory Stakes, Group 2 weight for age.
Great to see Steph Thornton back riding already. Like, she just bounced straight off that fall. That's bloody good news for her.
Yeah, look, a full precaution was taken. Obviously, when they fall off a horse, it's always good to take precaution. Slightly sprained wrist was the outcome, I think, according to Pistol from stalking her Instagram. And, yeah, she's back riding today, Saturday. She got a couple of rides there for Annabelle Neesham, who's brought a couple up from Sydney, which was, I thought, an interesting booking.
Girl power.
Yeah. Just makes it easy for me to make wagering decisions. So race 8's the Victory Stakes. I want to bring you guys in here because we see Trekking coming to Queensland, who was here last year and was successful. Read and hearing reports that this horse is going to stay on a weight for age campaign.
I think.
Yep, because it'll be out handicapped. The handicap will get to him. This horse is 225, and I can genuinely get this horse odds on comfortably. The only horse that I can see beating him is probably Fasika.
Yeah.
Match fitness, map, a little bit better match fitness.
So is it some push too for Seeker that, like, I know Hugh's up there, but like the gun's gone up, probably to ride this?
Yeah, and well, he's given Hawkesbury the swerve. I mean, that's high praise. It's missing the Hawkesbury standalone Saturday. That's incredible, really.
You can say that about Hugh.
Yeah, I mean, Trekking ran fourth in the Everest. I mean, he admittedly second up, not first up, but can see why it's 210. I look, Fasika's come back really well. She didn't come up in the spring, and she probably had more favours in the run than the second horse the other day. However, she's back to her best, and with that run under her belt, might give Trekking a race. Who is getting on a bit now too? What is he?
Yeah, look, I think they're the only two horses.
Yeah.
As far as the locals are concerned, Vega 1 could be a myth. This was the horse last preparation that was they got in trouble for allegedly giving it a run first up, and
allegedly
the jock was suspended for it. It's not me saying they gave it a run; it's the stewards. And it's obviously on a Stradbroke path. I was disappointed with it first up. It's it's $10. It's one of the leading local hopes at the price. Emerald Kingdom's got sort of Steph Thornton and a lot of speed inside it, and it's $9. And you've got Master Jamie, who I thought ran okay first up, but has already got a free ticket into the Stradbroke from winning an earlier qualifying race. So it's drawn wide as well. I don't see no reason for those horses to gas, and I think the other two horses, Trekking and Fasika, are just better than them anyway. So
what about how Fasika's not seeing the track curls, and you're big on Eagle Farm horses, Eagle Farm tracks. At least Trekking's got the 3 starts at the track and won once.
So I had a look at Fasika's form on firmer ground down Sydney, and it had some good figures. Like had a good enough figure on a good track. Good 3-4 sort of track, which is what will cop here. Like it'll be still firm. There's no reason to suggest there's any. I can't see any rain or anything, but who knows? But Trekking certainly got that advantage as well. I think a lot of the time though, I sort of feel that like the average horses and mediocre horses are the ones that can use tracks as an excuse, where good horses run well, just might pull up a little bit sort of sorer, but or something like that. Like the issue might be after the race, not necessarily in the race. And I think the class will carry those two horses a long way. I'd be shocked if one of them didn't win. I've just got to work out on the day the way the track's playing. Whether Brenton he's just another jock on a seat up here as far as I'm concerned. I'm not giving the horse any tick for Brenton. Whether the track suits where it's going to be presented with an inside run and he goes up the fence on a fence-off day, and Trekking with Hughes going down the middle. So that's when I'll make a decision after I see a few races on which way I go, but one of them too.
Question, Curls. What do you think of Nicanova? Ran second in this race last year. Off no trial, I should say. Similar setup here, back with the original trainer, obviously based out of Queensland. Does have a decent enough record at Eagle Farm.
It does. Thanks for bringing that up, because I wasn't going to say that it's the best hope of the locals. It has jumped out at Toowoomba in the those little jump outs that no one sees,
except
or no one gets to see, except those of us that watch. So it's I think it's the best local chance.
I tried to do this last week. Tried to keep one to myself in the highway race 1 last Saturday, and it settled last and got past 1, I think. So, it's a waste of time.
Yeah, so I think that's the race, but like it's you know, it is race 8, so we get plenty of opportunity to have a look how the track is, you know, before we have to pull the trigger.
You think fence off is a chance? Good chance?
Yeah, for sure.
That'd certainly be pro trekking and anti Pasika.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, should we talk about the races that we're all really excited about? And they're the breeders' races, the ones that are only for mares and fillies, and the ones that are Group 1s in South Australia. In fact, this first race used to be known as the Sangster. It's no longer called the Sangster. I was like, what's this classic race? Like, when did that happen? I don't even know. Anyway, I'm calling it the Sangster. Group 1. Anyone want to start? Anyone want to have a throw at the stumps here?
I don't want to...
It's called the Tab Classic on puntingform.com.au.
Yeah, it used to be the Robert Sangster. It was the Robert Sangster for 30 years.
Yeah.
Robert's not obviously putting in the cash that the Tab are now.
Well, that'd be a bit hard, I think.
For a number of reasons.
The family of, or the family of, or the estate of.
Yeah. The all-powerful Tabs got hold of this one.
It's only a $502,000 race, surely.
And it's not about the money; it's the prestige and the black type, Peter, as you know.
Yeah.
Particularly the black type.
Got to get that sweet black type. Now,
that's why they have Hawkesbury standalone meeting this Saturday for the black type.
Yeah.
There's a Group 3 there.
Anyway, sorry.
I was going to throw out, I think Prophet's Thumb, with Froggy Newitt on board is, I think it's quite over the odds. It has SP over a few of these last start when it wasn't really suited. It was sort of bolting up towards the end in the worst going, getting around $26, $27, and this is a pretty open field. Doesn't map horribly either from gate 2. Can probably put itself midfield. Doesn't have to get too far back. There's a lot that are drawn out really wide here. I'm more than happy to have something on that horse. Instant Celebrity is favourite. I thought it was okay at best.
Shall we start there?
Yeah, I mean, it's favourite at the moment at $6, but...
If it doesn't start $10, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I thought it was pretty iffy first up.
It was iffy first up. It did a couple of nice things last preparation. Everything it's ever done that are any good is against Adelaide horses only, just about. This is a proper race, and it's over 1,200 metres, and all her best work's over 14 or further. I
mean, you can even draw a line to using your puntingform.com.au subscription. Last prep, first start ever, 2.8 lengths slow it travelled to the 600. First up, this prep, 2.6 lengths slow, so basically the exact same speed, but the difference in the overall figure is 6.1 lengths. So compared with its first start, it's gone 6.1 lengths inferior. That's not really a great platform to be winning a Group 1, even if it is a fillies and mares race.
I thought in her favour is it's a huge jockey switch. It's enormous. And the barrier's decent enough for Craig to use. But the horse doesn't have a stack of speed.
Yeah.
Like, if it's last, I wouldn't be shocked. But it could, from that barrier with Craig, all of a sudden be midfield if that's where he wanted to be. But they were the two positives I found, and then it stopped pretty quickly. This horse knocked off Viduka. That's right, punters, Viduka. And then Personal, knocked over Personal over 400. Personal's running in the Oaks, and it won the Oaks, the Victorian Oaks, so it needs another 1,000 metres. Then it's lost to Odium, who's been okay since. Mark, how strong would Odium's form be in Sydney? It came up there, almost won first up, and then might have won, did it? Or
no, he didn't win, but he ran very close second to Isotope, who came out and won the 3-year-old.
So there's a tick. That's a tick for the form.
Yes.
Yeah. But so first up, you sort of thought 1,100 might have been out to 1,300, or it just needs 1,400 in my opinion. I think it's a massive, massive gap job late, win and place.
Okay, well, you're pretty effusive with Ruby Saki saying it was back after its first up run. What do you think Ruby Saki in this race?
I wanted to find it, and 2 years ago I wouldn't have ever really looked at this race, or just backed it off how good it was last start. But it's got the plate smasher on, Billy Egan, from barrier 4, a horse that sort of never settled closer than midfield, We're going to be last at the fence, and we're going to have to just like literally wait till everyone. He's like a hero on a sinking boat, you know. Everyone's going to get off, then it's going to be his turn, and then he's going to go, and the race is probably over. So
Yeah.
I reckon Ruby Saki's going to like just smack the line, like Billy smacks plates, and then it's going to say back me next start, and we probably will. Maybe if you really want to back it, I'd be much heavier the place, and you can be at the enormous, like, and it is an enormous price. This is a great betting race because of that ridiculous favourite. I want to back Hummer here, number 10.
Carry on.
Last two starts have been at the track. They've both been good. Good figures.
J Mott scares the shit out of me. But I just think from barrier 10, he can't overthink this. He has to show some speed. He's going to blend in. He'll be 3 wide cover. He's going to need to be very, very good. But there's like Montesira, Bam's on fire, little Contra out near it. We've got some speed, particularly Bam's on fire, little Contra. I think he can get some sort of toe. I just think the horse is flying. I think this is the right sort of race. I think 1,200 metres is right. I think barrier 10, like if J Mott was drawn barrier 4, I'd never even look at the horse because he'll get stuck in traffic like Billy will. But from 10, he should just blend and just, he'll be 6 or 7 wide, I think, entering the straight. And if something sneaks up the inside, it probably knocks us off. A little bit like this happened to me last year in the same fucking race. But I thought Hummer each way was a nice bet here.
Someone's going to have to talk me out of like why Mizzy's just like not the best bet in the race. Like, is it because it's?
Can I field this one?
Afterthought.
Yeah.
The first thing I'd say about Mizzy, I think she probably is the best horse in the race. This trainer-jockey combination had a real struggle with winning horse races at all. Neither of them, and they do combine a lot, but either separately or together, neither of them have won a race in New South Wales Metro Provincial in the last month at all. It's just, I just think you have to penalise heavily. In fact, Bayliss has had 118 rides for A. Cummings. They're a bit of a team and won 8 races in the last 12 months or so. And you're doing 50% on turnover.
So, but what always happens to us is when we sort of line something up like this, you know it's about to happen.
Yeah, they turn the corner. You know, they're like win 3 straight together. Yeah.
Is this the horse to do it?
She's good enough. It is an afterthought too, isn't it?
That's what I'm worried about, isn't it?
They had her flying, and then she sort of, what did they run her in the rider or something, and she came right off. Now they're trying to freshen her up back to 1,200 and go again.
I mean, that's it. Isn't the 1,200 a concern in itself? I mean, I know it won the Shirako or something beating Fasika, but that was over that was back in September 2019. Like, we're talking a long time ago. 1,200's not exactly in its wheelhouse at the moment.
No, and what she 1,300, 1,500 first, second up this prep?
Yeah, went from 1,100 at Caulfield, then 1,300 Randwick.
No, right, that was her first run in Sydney. She was actually third. That's right. Yeah. So, she hit form at 1,300 and 1,500.
Yeah.
Great run behind Savatiano, and then another good run in the top 8 in the Coolmore, but then came off, and now they have to get it back at 1,200. And she's second favourite, isn't she?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, $7, and that's the problem here. Is that when you look at the other horses on speed, Sistar again probably a small knock when you're talking about 1,200 as opposed to 1,000, 1,100. Pike will probably try the same trick that he did at Caulfield last start and just put the horse outside the leader and hope it's strong enough, which has to be questionable. There's a huge
story here, though.
And then
there's a huge story.
Night Raid's trial, I thought, was pretty ordinary, Dickens. I don't know if you've had a watch of it, but
it's a hard horse to catch, though.
Yeah, I went trying to find it, but I didn't
it trialled
like it.
real good last prep and then went shithouse.
Yeah.
So, it might be a positive that it hasn't been wound up in the trial. You know what I mean? Grey. But I do think Mizzy, of the first sort of 5 horses in run here, is the most likely winning chance. So, if it's mad on pace, it's another tick for the horse. Yeah. There's no way Pike's going to cross it. I don't think. Mate, would Burren Voster cross it? Probably would. But the biggest shins in racing is not riding for the the good horses for McAvoy. They've
She's not. I mean, she's not fab for this horse. She's not a, just advanced.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's not a guaranteed leader here.
Yeah.
Well, what is?
Well,
None of them really.
none of them.
Paul's regret goes forward when the cash comes.
It has to from that gate, surely.
Every time.
Is Subpoenaed any chance? No luck at all last time, and was good at 1200 the run before that.
I couldn't get it near the price, but
Okay.
I agree it's a horse with some ability. I thought 1200 maybe was enough of a reason not to.
Oh, it was 1300 first up. Sorry, yes, it wasn't 1200. Yep. Fair enough.
But good horse, isn't it? Good horse, isn't it?
Big
We
Mark
what
Sheen,
about-
and Mark Sheen's. Big fan.
What about speaking of big shins? What about Pretty Brazen with the blinkers on in a race that sort of lacks a bit of speed, pushing forward like it did last prep?
Well, you'd assume that the biggest shins in racing, Bruin Voster, would get the A1 rides at the McAvoys, considering he would be keeping the SA stable going. Came over here to retire on riding their ponies, and looks like they've gone with the sort of the swell here and put Pike on everything. But maybe the camp believes Pretty Brazen is a big player here, even though the market doesn't.
Oh,
It gets a great map.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Right, what's our bets? Go around the team here, Peter.
I'm Prophet's Thumb, and if they're making ground out wide, I'm not losing on Liar.
Yep.
But Prophet's Thumb's the main one for me.
Mark.
Me, don't know. What have you come up with? So, I thought Subpoenaed had a chance with Lane on, but you're right, probably right about 1200. But I'll follow you.
Shane.
I'll back. I'll have something on Mizzy and Pretty Brazen.
And I'll back Hammer. Just on the snows, but if you're sick and you need a bet each way, it's probably a great price to do that. But I think you're stupid. No, I don't think you're stupid. I just don't do it. You do you. I'll do me. What's the next race, Peter?
Yeah, the other of the breeders' races, the Group 1 Australasian Oaks over 2,000 metres for the 3-year-old fillies. Wow.
This is not a bad race, though, is it?
Oh, I mean, look, Delicacy won it. That's about the only time I've ever watched the race, I think.
Bullshit.
I
Last year, we backed fucking Moonlight Maid for 3 months.
Oh, we did
It was
too.
the worst ride of all fucking time, and Toppy Tongue snuck up the inside and got us on the line. It was one of the worst days of my life. But Toppy Tongue then came out and almost beat Very Elegant, doing the same thing. So it was a decent form reference, I thought.
I was going to say I've probably blanked that out from my memory, but thanks, Jack. I appreciate that. That's
I
only
think it was Zach Spain. It was like at the back, went around him.
Little Spainer.
Big hello to Mitchie Friedman. Okay, we've got favourite
Still
here.
got over it.
Steinem at $4.40, just in front of Hella, the Tasmanian at $4.80. Then you're out to Personal at $8.50. Double figures the rest, but there's a couple of flashing lights in terms of
race.
runs else in the field. So look, there's probably going to be about 15 different options here, but let's go.
Firstly, let's start with Steinem. Barrier 1, no speed.
Dangerous.
You know it's going to get out eventually, and is it going to be good enough? You know? I feel like if we're not on it, it probably will be, but geez, it's going to need a lot of luck there from Barrier 1.
It could also be one of those where they all fan wide on the turn. It just gets that charmed run up the inside. Like, how often do you see that in staying races?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What does anyone want to be with Steinem at that price?
No.
I don't. I think it's too tricky.
We've got a couple of
What do you
Kiwis
do?
in this field as well.
What do you do with American Angel? It was an absolutely hemorrhaged last week to knock off Brooks Spire. So off the SP profile and like that way of like reviewing and previewing races, it will beat Brooks Spire here, and it probably should have beaten it on Saturday. It just gone anyway. They're both back up. There was so much cash for this American Angel, and it was bolting. Just missed its turn to get out and get going.
Yeah, I'm with it.
There
Full
we
stop.
go.
At that price, you have to be. Like, if you backed it, if you had any cash on it last start, you have to follow it up.
I don't know how it's not the same or shorter than Brookspire here.
Yeah. Oh,
They're drawn right next to each other.
Yeah, and it gets D lane. It's guaranteed to start with Mozzie Monster coming out. It's just, yeah. Obviously, Ollie's obviously riding personal, but he's had that, no pun intended, he's had that personal engagement with that horse previously, so you can understand he's probably already committed to that, so I'm not surprised to see him jump off a couple of these runners. I think he was also on, was it Media Award last start? So, yeah, no surprise to see a jockey change there.
Yeah. Curls, any opinions?
Yeah, a couple. Couple of opinions. Don't know whether I'm giving the trainer a little bit too much credit here, but a horse like probably Tight Goddess, should run a peak figure here. Obviously, been to the Oaks and the Wakeful last preparation. Wasn't a bad effort in the Wakeful, and then strange tactics in the Oaks, you could say. Like being polite. So it's the sort of horse that you could easily put away at the end of that preparation in the spring and say that we can target Adelaide and we can peak in a race like the Australasian Oaks. Definitely. And then you've got, the horses that you've mentioned there the two horses that you mentioned there in Brookspire and American Angel, who again, both right trainers, both look like they'll run a good figure again. So they're the sort of three horses that I thought. Don't know what to do with the Tassie horse.
Just hope there's no money for it and then ignore it.
Yeah. Well, that's easy, isn't it? How good's punting? Mark, the horse I wanted to ask you about was Flexible from Gate 4, William Pike on board. The last couple of starts, the figure's probably good enough to win here over 2,000, and obviously had the start over 2,000 at Randwick in the Adrian Knox. Form's been pretty solid as well out of both that race and the race prior. They're Kensington race behind, was it Johnny?
Juani. Yes,
Juani. Yeah.
And Rachel completely missed the boat that day on the Kenzo. Should have won by 2 lengths.
Yeah.
I think they've been pretty smart with this filly. She was going to be a Sydney Oaks contender for them, and then her run wasn't bad behind Duace last time, but they realised, well, hang on, she probably lacks the quality for Sydney Oaks, so let's just change tack here. Coming down for this race, staying at 2,000, which I think is probably the right move, and the blinkers on, and W Pike, and double figure odds, and last start SF.
Yep. And
that bargain ran second or third or something well, didn't it? Didn't it perform pretty well out of that race?
Duace and Bargain ran second and third to Hungry Heart, who's probably the best 3-year-old filly in Australia in the Sydney Oaks.
Yeah, and Isifar was in the race as well, so was Samiku. They both came out and won. A few others ran second, including Salto Angel. Yeah.
I think we're all pretty horned up for the same horses here.
Yeah, I had a look at this race and my eyes glazed over. I'm not going to be watching tapes of Adelaide races.
Yeah.
I'm afraid, but just on paper, Flexible. I mean, she's the one I know, so I'm biased in that regard. But it just looks strong enough to me, and at the price she is, blinkers, all that looks a bet to me.
And you just know how Pike's going to ride her as well. Inside draw, put her straight on the fence. You'll be saving that ground, probably forward of midfield. Unless the rail's completely gone.
It's going to get a great run.
Yeah.
And he's got blinkers on, so it should ping a little bit.
Yeah. I think a double figure on she.
I'm happy to stake this race on the show now because we don't sell anything there. I want to have half a unit on Flexible for everything Mark just said. The horse looks fucking primed, and the one that's still really on the up and in a great camp. And the perfect ride for Pike. He has to be in the ruck, and he always gets him going. I want to have half a unit on the 17 American Angel, who I think is just going to get a great run. A couple of not the same price or shorter than Brookspire. And then I want to have 0.2 at the $21 available. Probably get bigger come jump on Tight Goddess, which Curls mentioned, who I also think is going to get a fucking A1 run. And he's a pretty tough horse because for it to still want to try in races after what Kerry McAvoy did to it in the VRC Oaks. Like, horses don't go that fast. It's like it didn't die. And for it to still like want to run races and chase lions, well, it's probably a pretty good horse. So they're the three I want to be with at big prices, and just kick back and enjoy the race and hope that Steinem just gets held up and held up and held up, and then flashes late but misses and runs fourth to us.
Oh, well, that was easy.
Painless.
We'll talk about it on Monday.
Yeah.
Congratulations, everyone.
Yeah. How are you spending your money?
Speaking of looking into the crystal ball, we're going to start a little, just for our own. It's been done before, but we feel like we'll do it better. Predicting Sunday's headline that we want to see in our state or respective states. Now, I'll start because news during the week, Betfair's now offering a little bit less commish on WA racing, which is outstanding, except for the fact that we still don't have minimum bet laws, so it's kind of pointless. So I'd love to see on Sunday, Rawa introduces minimum bet laws into WA racing. It's never going to happen. I'm probably going to be banging on about it by the time I'm 40. Like, I'll still have the long hair. It'll still be even more grey. Dickens and I will still be yelling at each other across a fucking Zoom conference half the week, and there still won't be minimum bet laws.
It's 40 old, is it? Shit.
It's...
All right, here's my headline.
That number out of, like it was this monolithic, monumental number of old age, 40. Shit.
I can't say too much about that. I'll get in trouble.
Whack. We should have a Twitter poll for everyone watching right now. Who's older, Curly or Rhoden? Peter and I still don't know. I'm the youngest, then Peter, then we're wondering who's next.
You're not the youngest.
Oh, God.
All right, Curls, what are you predicting Sunday?
I'm predicting we won't read. Trainers silent on Eagle Farm track because so much prize money on offer. We've had David Van Dyke come out in the press about 6 weeks ago and say how the Eagle Farm track's way too hard and there's no way I'm running my horses there. Only for 10 days out before the Winter Carnival, supposedly saying that the track has definitely improved and he'll start racing horses there again. Nothing to do with the prize money on offer over the Winter Carnival.
Nothing to see here. Mark Rhoden.
2022 Hawkesbury standalone Saturday already cancelled due to lack of interest. That's pretty unlikely. That's half. Look, as I said, I don't hate Hawkesbury as much as like every single person on Twitter. And I think the thing I don't like about it isn't the track, it's the camera angle, that sort of straight on camera angle, which makes it very hard to tell who's going better.
Yeah, and also, to be fair to judge anything, like if you're going off Twitter, the only thing it's got a lot of is hate.
Yeah.
It's not where you go for positivity.
But on the...
Hey, I want to feel good about myself. I'm just going to go on Twitter.
On Twitter for 2 hours. Keep the sharp object away. Yeah. The tiny kernel of seriousness in that facetious headline is that I reckon while we've got Hawkesbury this week, Gosford next Saturday, these standalones are great in that they give the two main tracks a chance to recuperate after the carnivals. That is a plus. I reckon if the Tab had 100% control of racing in New South Wales instead of 99.9, they wouldn't have these meetings because, and I think it's the same in Victoria with Ballarat and Pakenham. Even you could put the Cox plate on it at Ballarat and turnover's still going to be down.
Yeah.
The actual quality of the card doesn't matter. That's just the name recognition of Rosehill and Randwick in Sydney. Hawkesbury and Gosford don't cut it, and regardless, turnover's down. So if the Tab had their way, get rid of it.
How blessed was Racing Victoria to have one of their shitty meetings at Mornington, and then for all of a sudden, day one or whatever it was of the chance, or Golden Super Day cancelled, and then turnover through the roof just because people are sick. But fascinating that they decided to throw out the Melbourne Cup news just on the real quiet week, just to any news is good news. Amazing behaviour.
It's all about engagement.
Mentioned that earlier, before we started recording. It's just like this news cycle that has to be continually fed by these sports. NRL talking about a conference two conferences. I think one's for the people that don't care about head knocks and concussion rules, and the other conference is for the ones that want to play a game without getting their head bashed in and shoulder charged and knocked out. It's insane. It's just like clickbait articles just driven by their own, internally to make sure they stay in the news. The VRC ones, like, who gives a shit? I guarantee you the punters that bet on the Melbourne Cup don't know the qualifying conditions now, and they won't know what the qualifying conditions are come November, but will still roll up to Cup week and enjoy themselves and have their annual flutter and move on.
Couldn't care less, could they?
Nope.
If anything, it might make the race a bit easier for us to find the winner of. But I don't know why he didn't go with this headline. I'm not going to take credit for it, but I'm going to say it because it was so good. This is curls, as you'd expect. But on Sunday or Monday, PVL announces Sydney Cup move to first Tuesday in November. Internationals welcome. Absolute free-for-all.
Any horse that failed the HIT in Victoria, automatic qualifiers for the Sydney Cup.
Yeah, straight in.
You know it'll be wet. Like, it's not going to be a good three.
They'll just out of the track for you. There's going to be just a fucking sprinkler on all night.
Yeah.
How good. They can call it the swamp.
That's standard anyway up there. But, yeah, exciting times for New South Wales. The door's opened.
Okay, very good. I think that's probably about it. Some good stuff there. Couple of previews. If you're signing up for anything this weekend, join the fun. There's Ascot as well, which we haven't talked about, but I'd rather not. After watching two jockeys incapable of leading yesterday, I'd rather not. So, anyone else got anything to say before we say goodbye?
Well, we need one best from everyone around the country, like probably in your own area.
Oh.
Do I have to?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. I'll start. We'll go Sandown, race 9, number 8, Vow Master, $4.60 across all the plastics. It'll either win this or what's happened to it. It was very, very good last start. Sandown, race 9, number 8.
Okay.
Vow Master.
There's no prices up at Ascot anywhere. So I'll stick with Acromantula in race 1, but I've got no idea what price it's going up. Full stop.
Ellsberg for you, Mark?
Just say Ellsberg for now. If it gets 220 plus, I'll be very excited in betting. 210's knife edge, as I said before, but 220, 225-ish, I think that's bet for sure.
Kelly?
We're going to stick to what works at Eagle Farm, although I am genuinely excited about the Bow Desert meeting on Saturday. I'm going to stick to what works, and it worked for us last fortnight that we're at Eagle Farm, and it's going to work for us again Saturday. Race 2, number 4, Traduce.
Ooh.
Murdered them when we were on at the $7.50.
We were on at 10s, weren't we?
$7.50. Doesn't go up enough. Doesn't go up enough in weight, comparably and/or class to make it not a bet, and we're still copping $3.20.
Beautiful.